We do not see Black men talking about mental health on the level that which Gucci Mane just talked about it on The Breakfast Club. To see a Black man talk about his diagnosis of schizophrenia, to see a Black man talk about taking medication, to see a Black man talking about seeing a therapist regularly. And as a licensed therapist, I wish we would talk more about this, especially in the Black community, because there's so many more people who are experiencing the same thing that Gucci Mane experienced. The interview on The Breakfast Club with Gucci Mane, Keyshia Ka'Oir, DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, they really shed light on something that was really powerful. I mean, Gucci Mane's body language was so calm. He was chill. His tone of voice was relaxed. He seemed to be honest and truthful. The only thing that I wish they would have made him do was take off them glasses, boo. I wanted to see your eyes. But the ways in which he was honest about the episodes that he experienced in his life was mind-blowing. I didn't know half, okay? Not even half of the things that him and Keyshia mentioned. And we're gonna talk about her in a second because y'all was trying to low-key drag her for filth, saying that she was being rude, but I'm gonna give my perspective on that in a minute. All of the episodes that he talked about blew my mind. And yes, obviously there was a lot of drug use and lean and marijuana and pills and stress because of court cases going on, which probably contributed to his psychotic break. But the fact that he was honest in the first place and vulnerable about the episodes in general was huge. This is something that most people would hide, that they would never tell, that they would never show to the public, that they would probably keep a secret and keep to the side. But we all seen it. What was it, a tweet? You know, when he was popping off in the middle of one of his episodes, we all seen what was going down. So yes, it took a little bit of time for him to come out with his story through his book. And I really do hope he does create a movie out of this because this would be juicy. I love how he's using his platform, his story, and everything he went through to help other people. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but schizophrenia often comes with hearing things and seeing things that are not there. So the fact that he would have these episodes and go through hearing voices and creating these narratives in his mind that he thought was true could have been detrimental, not just to his career, but to his marriage, to his family, to his children, to the public, and to anybody else. But there comes a point in any mental health diagnosis when the person themselves have to want change. There is no amount of people, your mama, the doctor said, psychiatric evaluations, hospitalization, medications. There is no amount of outside sources that can make you want to change for yourself, that can make you go to therapy, that can make you take medication. Sometimes people's world have to be on the line and things have to be almost borderline about to go haywire for them to say, whoa, this issue is bigger than me and I need to get this under control. At some point, it sounded like to me that he wanted change. Didn't want this to impact his career any longer. He didn't want to keep continuing to have episodes and his wife having to manage him. He didn't want to have an episode with his child or after he's had children and they don't see him because he's hospitalized. He did not want those things anymore. So he was like, baby, look, I'm going to therapy and I'm gonna take whatever medication that I need to take every day. It was like these outside factors, being a good husband and being a good father, was also the driving force to him wanting to make sure that he got his mental health stabilized. And if I'm being honest, oftentimes we talk a lot about other diagnoses. We talk about depression and we talk about anxiety. We talk about bipolar. We talk about narcissism. We talk about all of these things, but we don't talk as much, especially not in the Black community, about schizophrenia. And that is often a very difficult diagnosis to manage because they are not intact with reality. They're incoherent at times. Again, like I already mentioned, they're seeing things and hearing things that aren't really there. And how do you rationalize with someone who's seeing things and hearing things that are not true? This level of damage that he was doing when he was in the middle of his episode, he talked about having a lot of guilt and shame. But I want to applaud him because he just didn't say like, oh yeah, when I was in my episode, I messed up and it's whatever. He talked about how, look, I went on an apology tour, right? Anybody who was willing to answer my call, I apologized to this person. I said, I'm sorry. I called them. I texted them. I let them know, hey, I wasn't mentally well. Please forgive me. And I thought that that was powerful because he talked about not wanting to use his mental illness as a crutch. right? He still wanted to be able to be accountable to other people, whether he was in the middle of an episode or not. And that just speaks to growth. That just speaks to personal development, and probably the fact that therapy is working. I think what he experienced was no different than you and I. When we do stuff wrong, we experience some shame, we experience some guilt, and like, dang, I feel bad for doing that. I feel bad for saying that, because he talked about how mean he would get and how he would say crazy things and send crazy text messages when he was in the middle of a psychiatric crisis. But the fact that he's chill now, the fact that he is stabilized, the fact that he is okay with his lifestyle of just being at the house with his kids and his wife and just chilling and watching TV and picking his kids up and taking them to school and just living this simple life, people are saying like, oh, he got soft, he ain't a thug no more, he ain't the OG that I thought he was. No. This is a healthy version of him. This is a healing, in the process of healing version of him. And there's so many people who will not know what that is because they're so stuck on a particular stereotype. Before we move on, it has come to my attention that only about 4 to 5% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed to my channel, and we need to get that number way up. So it would mean the world to me if you are enjoying this video or any of my other ones to just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so I can keep creating content like this for you every single week. But let's get back to it. We also have to talk about Keyshia Ka'Oir. You guys brought it to my attention that you felt like Keyshia was very dismissive and rude to him during this interview. And I think the opposite. There are some things that I disagreed with that she said, but I believe that she was a supportive wife. Do you understand how much empathy, how much patience, and how much love you have to have for somebody to go through all of these major, massive, big episodes? We're talking about him giving away hundreds of thousands of jewelry. We're talking about being concerned about his health. We're talking about being concerned about his sleep patterns. We're talking about being concerned that if he's going to harm himself. I mean, all of these things and these worries put a toll on Keyshia too, okay? And because she has children, right? So she's constantly trying to make sure that he's good so their family is good. Because if we're being honest, there's a lot of women who would have left a long time ago. They would have took them kids and been like, baby, you crazy. Right? Because that's real. Like, if we gonna keep it real or not, they're gonna be like, you crazy and I'm out of here, deuces, right? But she didn't do that. She loved him, and she's consistently being present and showing up. I tell y'all all the time that love is a verb. You got to show me. There has to be action behind your words. And I believe that she is absolutely showing it and acting it out. One of the beautiful things that she did or continues to do and has done in the past is that she is aware of his triggers, and she's also aware of the early onset of signs before he's going into an episode. This speaks to how she has learned her husband. I tell y'all all the time, make sure you study your partner. This means she has been studying him. She knows when things are a little off. She knows when he gonna text crazy. She knows when he starts to be a little bit more mean. It's just like, we're going down that road here. She is aware of his triggers and his signs, and she tries to get ahead of it. And I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. Now, I don't think she was rude during this interview, but I think her being present and being involved in this interview added a lot of information and color and insight that we would not have gotten if he was there by himself. I do not like how she said, I'm going to fix him within the first few minutes of this interview. I was like, hold on, sis, say what? Because fixing somebody implies that they are broken. And just because somebody has a mental illness, whether it's controlled or not, that does not mean that they are broken. It just means that this part of my life is just one piece of who I am. I'm still a father. I'm still an artist. I'm still a husband. I'm still a friend. I'm still a son. I'm still fill in the blank. And being and having a mental illness is just a part of who I am. He's still human. You don't gotta fix nothing, sis. That's not your responsibility or your role. And when she said that, everything else that she mentioned throughout this interview, it was screaming to me that she needs a support system and that she also needs to be in her own therapy apart from Gucci Mane, okay? DJ Envy has some really good questions. I was like, okay, DJ Envy, I see you. Because what Charlamagne and DJ Envy was trying to get to was like, girl, well, who's supporting you if you've been holding him down? I think as Black women, especially Jamaican women, okay, we try to wear the S on our chest and we try to do everything and be superwoman all of the time and hold it down. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you have to know when to take your cape off, when to put it down and say, hey, the helper needs help. The supporter needs help. The fixer needs help too. And it's okay to go to your own therapy, girl. You talking about, well, I'm the therapist. I really am like his therapist. No, you're not. Because you are not a professional and you do not have the credentials to back that thing up. She says she can't sleep and sometimes she would be worried about him and she wasn't sure if he was going to jump off the side of a building and he wasn't eating and he would get mean and say nasty things to her. That is a clear indicator that you also need to go and seek support for yourself, girl. There's a lot to process when you're trying to be that person for everybody else. To say that you don't need to talk to somebody or that you don't need a support system, even if you don't go to therapy, you need a mentor, you need to talk to somebody about this where you can actually just let it go, where you're not judged about your actions or what's going on in your family. And can we talk about that ring and that watch that she had on? Baby, it was bling bling. Every time I come around, you say they bling bling. I said, oh, that's nice. Overall, I thought this interview was amazing, and I'm seeing so many conversations about Black men and mental health and medication. I just did a video about Kirk Franklin and Jonathan Majors talking about them taking medication that I'll link up here and put in the description as well. And this conversation needs to continue to be had in the Black community. Thank you so much for watching another review on my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Be blessed. Bye.